My name is William James. I'm the host of the Bald Book Geek. All of the links and everything you need to know are in the description. You know, actually looking it for once. Because I get asked where all this stuff is in my comments constantly, and it's like, just read the description. It's all there. So, where can I start with this book? So it's The Son of the Storm, The Nameless Republic, Book 1. I'm going to take this opening section directly from Goodreads. From one of the most exciting new storytellers in epic fantasy, Son of the Storm is a sweeping tale of violence, conquest, and forgotten magic, set in a world inspired by the empires of West Africa. So, you have a character who... he's a scholar, he's on the cusp of this achieving greatness, but he doesn't want it. He prefers to go and read these forbidden stories about what lies outside of the city walls, and where the elite of this city claim there's nothing of interest, and the city's immigrants are sworn to secrecy. Okay, so let's start with what I like. I love what inspired it. I love African myths and legends. It's a massive continent with loads of different countries, and you can definitely go into each one, and each one is very distinct and unique, and it's fascinating to read. So, what didn't I like? Oh, I will say, on adding to the like thing, I actually loved the concept of this world. I really did enjoy the concept, like a walled city outside of everything. Everything from the outside is kept out. No one knows anything, and the population. There's a lot of metaphors here, and it's clumsily handled, but it's decent in places. Okay, this book was neither bad or brilliant. New Adult does not exist. New Adult is an excuse that people use to read YA, and there is nothing wrong with reading YA, but this tries so hard to be an adult fantasy in places, but it's got YA writing, and it just doesn't work on many levels, and the writing... it just isn't strong. The writing is simplistic, the world building is simplistic, and it just drove me insane. Because it was so obvious in parts, and the story didn't lead particularly well. I forced myself to read it, and the problem is, I've read so many better books like this. For example, Black Leopard and Red Wolf, or The Kishi, which I've talked about on this channel numerous times. I mean, that's stunning. This just didn't tick those boxes. The cover's beautiful, but And I agree with what a lot of people are saying on this. It wasn't a page-turner. The big problem I have with this book is it just feels like it's a first in a series. That's it. That's all this book is. It's a first in a series. It's a very long prologue. It's not particularly enjoyable. And I was just uninterested by it. And I did love... the fact of the politics and the magic is as clumsy as they were in places. I did like that. But I just found a lot of info dumping. Everyone is interesting, but also at arm's length. There's no feelings with these characters. There was nothing there. It just felt very shallow, and it felt very bland. This has the makings of a really good fantasy novel, but honestly, it just was boring. And that's the thing. It was boring. It was flat. It wasn't particularly interesting. And it could have been something special. And I've read books like this in the past where it's got all the making of something amazing, but instead is this flat, uninteresting book. It didn't hold me. I wish... Having read it through and gone through all of the stuff with this book, I'm surprised it has a Wikipedia page already, by the way. it just didn't connect. It got a lot of positive reviews, and I actually enjoy it. It's nice, fast writing. It's great fun, but that's it. There is no connection. And in fantasy, for me, I need strong world building and strong characters, and they work in unison to build each other. This doesn't. This is bland, it's dry, it doesn't really give anything, it doesn't really do anything, and I feel like this book could have been something so special. It could have been something so stunning, but it panders to an audience of YA readers that it's just frustrating on that level. And it just feels disconnected and disjointed, and like I said, the info dumping is a sign of weak writing. I wish this book wasn't held back by the idea of making it a new adult book, because new adult is a marketing ploy. It's basically just simplistic YA writing with sex and violence. And I'm all for sex and violence in a book, by the way. I just want to clarify that one. But once you get to the end, you're like, well, you can't finish this. This ending is coming, and then the ending happens, and then it's like, well, this is book one. This is the prologue at the start of a bigger novel. And I really I detested that. It was so obviously, we are marketing a sequel before the sequel is ever written. I did laugh at a lot of reviews, like BuzzFeed. Whoever listens to BuzzFeed, you really need to sit down and go, why am I listening to these people? BuzzFeed is like a cultural dumping ground of trash. And it's just like, this fantasy explores race and gender and culture in a complex and compelling way. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And it just... There's plenty of books like this that do it better. The Kishi is one of them. And I'm going to put links to these in the doobly-doo. And there's several others. Black Leopard, Red Wolf, all of this stuff. It just... I don't know why this novel couldn't have been better. And I'm not going to bother reading book 2 for this reason. Simplistic, generic storytelling with actually lots of concepts and lots of good ideas that just proved frustrating because they were so poorly executed. All the makings of a great book, yet falls flat in many levels. This was not my favourite. It was a disaster zone.